I am at least somewhat familiar with LiveLOOK as a leader in co-browsing technology. We work with a number of credit unions, many in partnership with ConnectFSS, whose Vice President is joining me today and who I'll introduce in a moment. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Michelle Bruzio, and I'm the Marketing Director at LiveLOOK. I've been with LiveLOOK for almost 2 years now. I spend a lot of time connecting with our customers to understand how our co-browse tool is helping them, and I think the use case for credit unions is really strong. So I'm looking forward to sharing this presentation. Now I will introduce Joe Long.
Good afternoon, everybody. Joe Long. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Connect Financial Software. Been with us just under 3 years, and looking forward to exposing everybody here to the co-browse solution. And as Michelle had mentioned, we've got some really great examples of use cases, especially as it relates to online banking and the online channel for the co-browse technology. Thank you, Michelle.
All right. So here is what we'll cover in today's webinar. Again, ask questions as we go. We'll make sure everything gets answered. And I just wanted to start off with a quick note on who we are at LiveLOOK. LiveLOOK is the established leader in the co-browse technology space. We have a patented approach to co-browsing that ensures an instant launch of a co-browse session. There's no downloads required. There's no technology compatibility issues. We employ a unique escalation model, and that ensures that no matter what the host computer's configuration is, the session is going to launch in just a matter of seconds. And we're probably most well known for our security and our privacy features, which I know is something of interest to this group. So I'll talk pretty extensively on security later on. LiveLOOK's products are very widely adopted by companies in the financial services industry because our technology offers all of those very robust security and privacy options. So here are a few examples of companies that are in your general space that are using LiveLOOK's co-browse solutions. We're deployed at Parkview Federal Credit Union, Johns Hopkins, Northrop Grumman, Ultra, Navy. We just started working with Consumer Credit Union and Anheuser-Busch Credit Union actually this month as well. Probably hearing more and more about co-browse technology lately. There's been some big news stories, some announcements, companies like Merrill Lynch and American Express. If not familiar, co-browsing in essence is a form of screen sharing. The difference between co-browsing and traditional screen sharing that you might be familiar with, like this WebEx, is who's sharing the screen and how that sharing is accomplished. So in browsing, it's the end user, it's your member, or maybe it's your vendor or a colleague, for example. They are showing their screen to you, to your customer service rep. In traditional screen sharing, it's sort of reversed, and the agent showing his screen to a customer or a colleague for the purposes of making a presentation or showing something online. We see a lot more activity in 2012, particularly with the technology analysts. I know there are some new reports coming up also in the next couple of months that start covering co-browse use. Here's a quick blurb from Frost and Sullivan. They looked at collaboration tools for a report last year. I'm just going to read this quickly in case anybody's multitasking and not looking at the screen. That's how I attend webinars typically. One of the strongest ways to improve the customer experience is to join forces with customers using collaboration tools such as web co-browsing, and that's Frost and Sullivan. And then a short note from Forrester Research, also 2011, showed that live assist communications channels like phone chat and co-browse have a much higher satisfaction rating than asynchronous electronic channels like email and web self-service. And satisfaction ratings were phone at 74%, chat at 69%, co-browse at 78% satisfaction rating, which is the highest of all of these, email 54%, and web self-service at 47%. Aberdeen did a study late in the summer. They haven't released it yet, but they measured CoBrowse as a sales tool, and that had some really interesting results. So when that's ready to get packaged up and go out, we'll send everybody a link to that. So just as a frame of reference for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to participate in a live co-browsing session, I'm just going to give you a quick run-through of an example co-browse launch. A launch icon will appear on a web page, and launch point strategy differs pretty widely among companies. Some add this kind of double arrow icon site-wide, maybe in the footer of every page. Some companies put it on just specific pages throughout the site. Some program that launch icon to display on certain pages, maybe just at certain times of the day using business rules. And also in some cases, the icon, like in this example, pretty clearly communicates what its purpose is, but other companies sometimes like to deploy it where it's a little bit more ambiguous, so you don't have customers clicking on it without being directed to do so by a customer service agent that they're already talking to. With banking, most of the time this launch point displays just behind authentication, so you know that only your registered customers are able to co-browse with your agents once they're logged into your site. So in this example, this is American Express. They have their launch icon directly on their Contact Us page. So the agent would probably be talking with the customer and suggest that maybe they could better help the customer if they could see his screen, see what he's doing. So they direct the customer to that launch point, the customer clicks it, and they get this engagement window that pops up. And it gives some preliminary information about co-browsing, and it's got a start button or an I agree button. This is all configurable. Every company that deploys this can add their own messaging. The customer clicks start, they get a one-time passcode that's displayed, and then they will communicate that passcode to the agent that they're already talking with. The agent enters that passcode into their agent console, and that's it. It's just 2 clicks, it's a matter of seconds, and the agent can see the customer's screen. So now the agent is providing live help very efficiently, very accurately, more so than he would be able to if he was just speaking with the customer, asking the customer to articulate where he is on the website, what he's trying to do, and trying to articulate back where he should click, where he should go to find the information that he needs. I'd mention here that you all should have my email address. You can email me anytime directly to schedule a live demo, and then we can really go into the ins and outs of LiveLOOK's co-browse product if you'd like to see it in action. So adding this visual element to customer service call is giving the customer service agent this 360-degree view of the member's problem, so there's no guesswork. The frustration of a customer having to articulate what he's experiencing is gone. So they're getting help faster, it's more accurate, and it can also become this amazing resource in terms of process improvement, where the agents are getting this new glimpse into the actual customer experience in real time. Turn it over to Joe for a few minutes, and Joe, if you would like to give us some insight into your experience with co-browse for credit unions, what you see the value in this technology as an expert in the credit union space.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Michelle. A couple of things that we have experienced with deploying the LiveLOOK co-browse solution set within our existing client base. I certainly don't want to steal any of Michelle's thunder going forward, but a couple of them. Really what we're seeing is, especially at the launch of an online banking solution set for your membership, end of change, as you can well imagine. some angst and some challenges for your membership. And what we've found with clients and their feedback has been the reverse call resolution to addressing concerns, issues, login and or navigation issues within the online channel have been resolved very quickly. Membership, and their response very similar to the results that Michelle you had displayed earlier. The level of satisfaction has been very, very high. And in fact, in some instances, members have actually come back and praised the solution and how quickly and easily it was to solve their problem. And I'm not sure if now is a good time, Michelle, to talk a little bit about perhaps some of the advanced security features, because I know that there's some concerns from that we've both heard from credit unions regarding co-browse technology. Do we want to touch on that now, or do we want to touch on that a bit later?
I'd like to touch on that a little bit later. Maybe first, if we can move into just some specific use cases that we've seen for credit unions to help the webinar attendees sort of visualize the purpose of this with their own customer service interactions. Brainstormed and we talked to our credit unions about the way that they're using it. So some of the ways are within online banking, helping customers enroll in the online banking system, or if they're having trouble logging into the online banking system, it can be very helpful to get a glimpse into what's happening, where they're getting stuck, and that can help with process improvement. It can help identify possible bugs in the system, and it just makes the customer feel like you're really holding their hand through this process that's frustrating them. So you're able to get them help very quickly and get them into the system where they can take advantage of the self-service tools that you've provided for them. In terms of those self-service features like bill paying and transfers and data downloads into QuickBooks or all of these feature-rich online banking portals can sometimes be confusing for certain banking consumers that maybe are not so technology savvy. And particularly, as Joe mentioned, if you've gone through a banking platform change where your customers have been used to doing something one way and now things are laid out a little differently, maybe they can't find where they used to set up their bill pay, they're going to have questions. And this is a very visual experience. Getting that visual insight into the process is very, very helpful. A lot of banks now have their own branded tools and applications, including mobile applications. And LiveLOOK is working to be fully mobile compatible by early 2013 so that within your online banking applications you can add this co-browse functionality. And as things change, as you launch new features and announcements to your members that these new features and resources are available, you can offer to co-browse, particularly maybe with your premium customers. Give that little white glove service. Let me walk you through this new feature. I'll show you how to use it.
And Michelle, notice that we have a question from one of our attendees.
Sure.
Question is, we have WebEx, and what does this service offer that they wouldn't offer with WebEx?
Big difference between co-browsing and a screen sharing solution like WebEx is how the session is started. You wouldn't necessarily be able to ask of your customer that they you in a WebEx session that you're going to set up. The process takes a little more effort than 2 clicks and a connection. The other challenge is that a lot of corporate environments, and particularly government environments, restrict executable and downloads and started those technology aspects of a screen sharing solution like WebEx that might be blocked within their environment. So you're going to run into technology problems with a customer that's already frustrated. So the benefit to co-browsing, to a LiveLOOK solution co-browsing, is that it's instantaneous, it's universally compatible. You're offering that help right away when the customer needs it, instead of asking them to take several more steps in order to have their solution taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay. To the use cases, another way that a lot of our financial customers use this beyond credit unions is in the loan processing process. There are pretty significant applications, within this process that customers want help with. Finance are a very emotional thing. People want to ensure that they're filling out these forms and applications properly. They don't want to make mistakes. This is something that they don't do regularly, so they're going to call in and ask for help. And instead of trying to figure out where in the process they are, a rep can get that glimpse right into where they are in the loan application process, what they need to do next, help them maintain accuracy throughout that whole process. And then once the process is complete with live loans, there's the whole account management piece where there are online aspects to that a rep can help a customer with. And there are plenty of other online tasks that customers run into trouble with. We've seen use cases for order checks, and oftentimes will go off-site, off the bank site, into maybe a third-party vendor site. So one of the benefits to a co-browse solution like LiveLOOK is that it's not specific to your own website. You can open that up to be able to co-browse your website and your partners and your vendors. Also utilizing resources like calculators and research tools. It's often impossible to offer accurate help in something that's dynamic content like that without actually seeing what the customer is seeing. And navigating non-bank properties like member benefits or rewards. We can take the co-browse off-site and help your customers accomplish things that go a little bit beyond your online banking. And personal financial management is a big one, where those are very robust tools, and oftentimes you want to have that more like an in-branch experience with your high net worth customers, and co-browsing really enables that. We do have one specific case study to share, and we have some others that we can share privately one-on-one if we can set up meetings after the webinar. But this was a great story from Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union. We were going through an online banking platform transition, and they had done something similar before, so they knew that this was going to be a challenge with their new members. Anticipating this heavy increase in service calls and possibly member frustration. So they wanted the member services team to be able to very quickly assist their members, no matter what their technical aptitude, to help them re-register into this new banking system. So they deployed co-browse ahead of the platform upgrade. So their agents were ready to go. They were ready to utilize co-browse anytime they needed it in terms of assisting members who needed help with that transition. So we worked with Northrop Grumman a couple months after the transition had kind of gone very smoothly, and they shared that in 100% of the instances where co-browse was utilized to help get through the process, the member issue was resolved that time on that call. So that was impressive. They anecdotally shared that the members very much appreciated having the ability to co-browse with a rep. And moving forward, they even request to use it when they call in with a question or an issue. So that's something that's very highly valued by the members. This is the testimonial that they shared with me when we spoke after the migration. Co-browse was an invaluable tool for our online banking system migration and the ongoing support of the home banking website. to the ability for us to look at and understand what the member is having difficulty with and walk them through the steps to resolve their issue. Also recently spoke with another credit union that's one of ConnectFSS customers, and they shared that the members that we have used this with really appreciate it and think it's really helpful for us to be able to see what they're doing. Most of the time, once co-browse is initiated, we're able to resolve the problem quickly, and they love that. All right, so if you've explored already the possibility of utilizing co-browse technology, probably familiar with some of the considerations technology-wise that are associated with this kind of customer service tool. But I will go through some of the most important aspects, particularly the whole privacy and security issue that Joe mentioned. And we'll share what really makes LiveLOOK's solution best of breed. So to be effective, really to make sense as a customer service tool in general, a co-browse solution has to be extremely easy to use, and that's the differentiator between us and like a WebEx type tool. LiveLOOK's co-browse requires no downloads, no registrations in order for the customer to start the session. So when we're using LiveLOOK, co-browsing starts within seconds. It doesn't trigger those security warnings on the customer screens. A lot of the other technology solutions on the market have trouble with this. As I said, it's especially critical when the members are logging in from a corporate or a government environment where downloads and executables can just be blocked across the board. Your technology fails. We know that all consumer-facing tools have to be universally compatible across operating systems, browsers, all types of rich media content. And LiveLOOK ensures that level of compatibility, that it's maintained even as new technologies and environments get updated and released. And it should be just as easy to use as it is to launch, so the customer is always in control. There's no question of when the screen sharing starts and when it ends. LiveLOOK uses a hovering toolbar, and that's what alerts the customer that the co-browse session is active, and we display a disconnect button for both the customer and the rep, so the session can be ended anytime by either party. It's also important to note how the deployment process works, any solution that you're evaluating. Some of our competitors require content servers, large-scale site modifications that sort of enable co-browsing compatibility. So for businesses that have complex web portals or big, a lot of pages, a lot of content on their site, it's always feasible, or it can become a really huge IT undertaking. Co-browse can be deployed within a matter of days with very little on-site work, and that's how LiveLOOK operates. So LiveLOOK is built to be easy to use. It's very fast. The agent provisioning process is very easy. So really the training requirements are pretty minimal. So privacy and security for last, because it is the most important. It's the aspect I know that this group in particular is very focused on. LiveLOOK leads the co-browsing technology industry in terms of security and privacy options. It's what we're most well known for, and that's why banks and financial institutions come to us over any of our competitors. Three of the main areas of security are in access control, content viewing control, and session security. LiveLOOK offers the ability to choose whether or not you want your agents to be able to click or type on a member's screen during a co-browse session. So with the financial services sector, that kind of access is almost always not enabled, and that protects the company from risk. LiveLOOK's credit union customers pretty much always deploy with just the view and point capability for agents, meaning that the agent can see the member screen, they can move the member's mouse cursor and sort of point them in the right direction, but the agent can't click on something. They can't change something on the customer's computer. They can't do anything on that member's computer. LiveLOOK also has the ability to block or enable agent's view of specific applications, even specific web pages, whether they're your web pages or outside resources, like I mentioned. For example, we could configure co-browse for a credit union rep to see the customer's browser, maybe Adobe Reader, and their browser settings. That's what the support team knows they need in order to help members effectively, and then we can block everything else. Also get very granular in terms of blocking specific content on a page, right down to a specific field on a form, like a social security number or a credit card number or a block of financial information on a page. This is all configurable. And of course, LiveLOOK's product is completely secure from start to finish. Our co-browse technology runs on standard Internet port 443. The sessions are established via a secure grid server, and they use 256-bit encryption. So that's a lot of info about privacy and security, sort of the overview. But again, if anybody would like more detailed information, sort of to dive into that more specific to their use case, we're happy to set up a time to talk. So we've covered how co-browse is being used by credit unions. They're optimizing their member services experience. They're giving their reps the tool they need in order to provide very fast, accurate, efficient service. Our current clients are reducing their call time. They're significantly increasing their first call resolution rates. They're improving customer satisfaction scores. They're really, providing an excellent experience start to finish. Joe, is there anything else you'd like to add, or should we check to see if there's any more questions?
Well, I'd really just like to reiterate, as we hear more and more in the industry in general, that member experience is a very major driving factor in really identifying and selecting their financial institution or credit union relationship. Type of solution set is a key component to help assure that the member experience remain very high and member satisfaction ratios stay very high as well. So just really to reiterate that point, it would be a great time then to dive into any additional questions that any of the attendees may have.
All right. Looks like I got one private Q&A about co-browsing and working with chat. So co-browse does work with chat. The process is a little bit different. In some cases, instead of using that on-site launch point that you direct a customer to, we can just push a link through the chat window. So when you're chatting, your agent's chatting with a customer, they can push that link out and ask if the customer would like to co-browse, and the process just happens all through chat instead of on the phone. The only consideration there is that typically an agent who's chatting and co-browsing need to have that one-on-one interaction versus handling 3, 4, 5 chats simultaneously. So that's just something to consider if it's deployed that way. One more question looks like, what happens if somebody wants to co-browse but our call center is closed for the day? That's a good question, and business rules can be applied to co-browse launch so that the launch point only displays at certain times, but a lot of times our customers will handle that directly on the customer engagement window, which showed you earlier, and which I mentioned is totally configurable. So a lot of our customers will put their business hours or customer service hours right on that window. So if somebody were to click that without being on the phone with an agent already, they would be alerted to the fact that the agents were not available then. think that's it. But if anybody thinks of any questions or has any questions that come up later today or over the long weekend while you're thinking about co-browse.
Michelle, I do have another question. I do have another question that popped up. So sometimes there are error messages that appear. I'm assuming that on the screen there's an error message that occurs with an online banking session, for example. Can the credit union agent somehow take a screenshot of the member's screen?
That is possible. We don't have that functionality built into the co-browse tool itself, but we do have customers that sort of layer that on top of the co-browse. There's nothing about the technology that prevents that per se.
Right.
So yeah, we actually have an insurance customer who uses it within their member services environment, and they've done that pretty extensively, where they'll take screenshots of an error or a problem, and they use that for process improvement and training documentation.
Great point. I'd like to chime in as well that typically that's something that we would not suggest allowing because of the sensitivity and the level of privacy and proprietary information that typically resides within an online banking session. In a co-browse environment, that will enable the credit union member service representative to actually view that particular error, and they could actually physically write down the error code for additional research or process improvement. We typically shy away from any kind of screenshot and or other types of, screen capture, if you will, within this type of venue or environment for security purposes.
And that makes sense. Really, it's up to the company what their policies are. We wouldn't prevent it, but definitely on a case-by-case basis, it's up to the company what they want to do in terms of adding on a screen capture capability.
Any that have popped up in your queue at all, Michelle?
No, that was it. That's it for my window.
And I don't see any more on mine either.
Okay. I think this was a great session. Thank you, Joe, for participating. I hope we can connect with everybody that's on the session individually. And as mentioned, we'll definitely send out the deck and a link to the recording of the webinar.
Sounds great. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving and long weekend.
Thank you.